1961, Enzo Ferrari, the mastermind behind the legendary Italian firm, uttered a phrase that would go down in history: the most beautiful car ever made. He wasn't talking about a Ferrari, nor a Porsche, and certainly not an Aston Martin or a Rolls-Royce. Those iconic words were reserved for one car alone: the legendary Jaguar E-Type. That stunning British sports car, unveiled that same year in Geneva, became a symbol of speed, luxury, and engineering excellence, marking a golden age for the English feline. But what happened to Jaguar? How did a brand once craved by enthusiasts, one that dominated the tracks at Le Mans and built some of the world's most iconic vehicles, end up teetering on the brink of collapse? From building dream machines, it has now lost over 80% of its sales in key markets. And, to make matters worse, its new commercial strategy and brand identity, launched in late 2024, sparked a firestorm of criticism, one that may well signal its imminent demise. Today, we delve into the evolution of Jaguar, from its beginnings in the Roaring Twenties, to what may very well be a chronicle of a death foretold. A man whose vision not only shaped Jaguar but redefined the very concept of elegance on wheels. William Lyons didn't just design cars, he sculpted them like moving works of art. Born on September 4, 1901, in Blackpool, England, Lyons came from a well-off middle-class family. He grew up surrounded by sheet music and gears. His father owned a musical instrument shop, while his mother was heir to a local mill. The home was a mix of artistic sensibility and entrepreneurial spirit. Blackpool, at the time, was a vibrant coastal town, an epicenter of entertainment, mechanical fairs, and modern innovation. Amidst the industrial hustle and the roar of engines, young Lyons found his calling. He didn't just want to drive machines, he wanted to design them. While his peers dreamed of traditional careers, Lyons became obsessed with the shape and style of every motorcycle and car that passed before his eyes. At 17, ignoring family expectations, he walked away from the piano business and set off for Manchester, the beating heart of British engineering. There, he secured an apprenticeship at Crossley Motors, one of the UK's early automotive pioneers. He combined the job with night studies in engineering, but it didn't take long for him to realize that his ambition couldn't be confined within someone else's company. After just a year, he returned to Blackpool. Back in his hometown, he found work as a salesman at the Sunbeam Brown and Malibu dealership, specializing in luxury automobiles. Despite his youth, Lyons stood out for his sharp business instincts and persuasive charm. But his true turning point came when he met the talented William Walmsley. In post-war Britain, where cars remained the privilege of aristocrats, motorcycles had become the aspirational vehicle of the middle class. And with them, sidecars emerged as both a practical and aesthetic necessity. Walmsley was a passionate artisan of two-wheeled design. Locally, he had gained a reputation for crafting aerodynamic, lightweight sidecars with an unmistakable style. His builds were different, lower, longer, more refined. Lyons saw them and immediately sensed a greater opportunity. Where Walmsley saw a small-scale workshop, Lyons envisioned a brand. Where others saw limited production, he imagined a growing enterprise. At just 21 years old, Lyons proposed forming a formal partnership to manufacture sidecars at scale. Walmsley agreed. Both families backed the venture with a £500 bank guarantee each, and in September 1922, the Swallow Sidecar Company was born. They started in a small Blackpool workshop with just a few employees, but their edge was clear: design and elegance at an affordable price. Swallow Sidecars combined refined aesthetics with real-world functionality and quickly became a commercial success. The combination was flawless. Walmsley handled the design and craftsmanship. Lyons led sales, brand image, and the roadmap for expansion. But while the business thrived, young Lyons was already looking beyond. For him, sidecars were just a stepping stone. His true obsession was building cars. The Roaring Twenties brought with them an unprecedented automotive boom. The rising middle class and a growing fascination with speed turned automobiles into coveted symbols of status and style. And no one understood that better than William Lyons. The time had come to take the next step. In 1927, the Swallow Sidecar Company began producing custom car bodies for popular chassis from brands like Austin and Morris. It was here that Lyons truly revealed his genius. He took modest cars and gave them the silhouette of luxury, without drastically raising the price. A new language in British car design was born: accessible, elegant, and provocatively stylish. The first great success was the Austin 7 Swallow, a modest car turned object of desire. Its popularity allowed the company to move in 1928 to Coventry, then the industrial heart of the British automotive world. In 1931, the company officially became SS Cars Limited and launched its first fully original model, the SS1. A sleek aerodynamic design, a 2.5-liter engine, and an affordable price tag. The SS1 marked the beginning of a promising rise. By 1935, the name Jaguar appeared for the first time on a hood. The SS Jaguar 100 was a two-seater sports car capable of reaching 100 miles per hour, an astonishing figure for its time. More than a car, it looked like a poised predator, ready to strike. Lyons understood something few did. Cars didn't just need to perform well, they needed to look powerful, feel intimidating. But while the Jaguar name was gaining prestige, a quiet rift was growing behind the scenes. William Walmsley, ever the conservative, didn't share Lyons' ambitious vision. He preferred to keep the business small, stable. For Lyons, that meant abandoning the future. The tension ended the way such stories often do, with a buyout. Lyons acquired Walmsley's shares through a public offering, becoming the sole director of the company. He now stood alone at the helm of a company with vision, but also one staring down the edge of the abyss. In 1939, the world changed. The outbreak of the World War II brought civilian production to a halt. The Jaguar factory was converted for military manufacturing. SS Cars Limited began producing armored vehicles for the war effort. But another issue loomed, this one symbolic. The initials SS, once meaning Swallow Sidecars, had become synonymous with terror. They were now linked to the Schutzstaffel, the infamous paramilitary wing of the Nazi regime. For a British company with global ambitions, this was unacceptable. In 1945, in a move that was both a rebirth and a break from the past, the company changed its name to Jaguar Cars Limited, a feline symbol, strong, agile, elegant. Lyons understood they weren't just building cars, they were building identity. The war had left devastation, but also opportunity. Europe needed to rebuild, and the public was hungry for beauty, speed, and distinction. Lyons had a clear plan. Jaguar would offer three things: aerodynamic design, performance above the competition, and a price more accessible than Bentley or Rolls-Royce. And so, amid the rubble of a recovering Europe, the golden era began. With peace restored, the demand for automobiles surged, especially across the Atlantic. Thousands of American soldiers were returning home, fascinated by something they couldn't find in Detroit: European sports cars. In 1948, at the London Motor Show, Jaguar unveiled the XK120. It was as if a comet had struck the automotive world. The car's silhouette, low, fluid, sensual, left the press speechless. But the impact wasn't just visual. Under the hood roared the XK inline six engine with dual overhead camshafts capable of exceeding 120 miles per hour. It wasn't just beautiful, it was the fastest production car on the planet, and it cost a fraction of what a Ferrari or Maserati did. Jaguar had found its winning formula: cutting-edge design, revolutionary engineering, and an irresistible price tag. But Lyons knew that the true crown wasn't earned in showrooms. It was earned on the racetrack, and there was only one place where a car's soul could be tested: Le Mans. The 24 hours of Le Mans wasn't just a race, it was a battlefield for the noble houses of motorsport. To stand against Ferrari, Mercedes, or Alfa Romeo, Jaguar needed something more extreme. That's how the Jaguar C-Type was born. Built for pure endurance, it combined an ultra-light tubular chassis with the power of the XK engine, plus one innovation that would change racing history: disc brakes. Jaguar was the first to use them at Le Mans. The result was immediate: victory on debut in 1951. 2 years later, in 1953, the C-Type triumphed again, this time setting a new average speed record on the track. But Lyons still wasn't satisfied. What came next was automotive art. In 1954, Jaguar introduced the D-Type, an aluminum beast with aerodynamics inspired by aviation. It featured a vertical rear fin for high-speed stability, radical, beautiful, unstoppable. It won Le Mans in 1955, 1956, and 1957. In that final year, the D-Type delivered one of the most legendary performances in racing history: first, second, third, fourth, and sixth place. A technical massacre. Jaguar had conquered Europe. Ferrari and Mercedes were left behind. And then, Lyons did the unthinkable. He withdrew from racing. He knew that glory could easily shift the company's focus. He had already fulfilled his mission. Now, it was time to focus on the production line, to gift the world a mechanical sculpture like no other. The result was unveiled in 1961 at the Geneva Motor Show. Its name, the Jaguar E-Type. When Enzo Ferrari saw it, he didn't hesitate. It's the most beautiful car ever made. And the world seemed to agree. The E-Type was the perfect blend of desire, speed, and British elegance. With a design that defied industrial logic and a top speed of 150 miles per hour, it became the icon of the decade. It cost a third of a Ferrari, yet matched it in performance. Celebrities, artists, aristocrats, everyone wanted an E-Type. Jaguar wasn't just a brand anymore, it was a cultural symbol. By the mid-1960s, Jaguar stood as a global prestige icon. But behind the elegant lines and glorious engines, a silent threat was brewing. And it didn't just come from European or Japanese competitors. It was rising from within Britain's own industrial structure. In 1965, British Motor Corporation, then the largest British car manufacturer, acquired Pressed Steel, Jaguar's main bodywork supplier. At first glance, it was a technical move, but strategically it was a threat. If BMC prioritized its own production, Jaguar could be left without the bodies to clothe its felines. Faced with the risk of industrial strangulation, William Lyons agreed to a forced merger, giving birth in 1966 to British Motor Holdings, BMH. The goal was survival, in a world where economies of scale were becoming law. But Jaguar was never a brand of scale. It was a brand of soul. And in that merger, it began to lose it. In 1967, Lyons, a man of instinct, not politics, stepped away from operational leadership, though he retained the title of chairman. His presence was now symbolic, not executive. A year later, in 1968, BMH merged with Leyland Motors to form the massive but dysfunctional state-owned conglomerate, British Leyland. It was a decision that would forever alter the fate of British automotive engineering. What had promised efficiency turned into chaos. With over 40 brands under one roof, British Leyland became a monster with many heads. Labor disputes were constant, product launches were delayed, and quality plummeted. In 1972, Sir William Lyons retired for good. With him, the light that had guided Jaguar since its inception went dark. Control fell into the hands of a bureaucracy with no vision and no automotive soul. Meanwhile, Germany was refining its precision industry, and Japan was rising with reliability and efficiency. Jaguar was adrift in a sea of strikes, outdated models, and fragile finances. The 1973 oil crisis made matters worse. Demand for large-engine cars collapsed. British Leyland wobbled, and the British government intervened. In 1975, the state became the majority shareholder, effectively nationalizing the conglomerate. Jaguar, the once untamed feline, was now a caged animal held back by red tape. But not all was lost. In the early 1980s, a pragmatic and determined executive named John Egan took over Jaguar. Egan understood something others had forgotten. Jaguar couldn't compete on volume. It had to compete on desire. He pushed hard for privatization and succeeded. In 1984, Jaguar once again became an independent company, trading on the London Stock Exchange. The feline's roar was heard once more, albeit briefly. In 1989, Ford Motor Company acquired the majority of Jaguar. Their ambition was clear: to use Jaguar as their spearhead into the premium segment, then dominated by BMW and Mercedes-Benz. The Americans improved build quality, invested in processes, but tried to apply American volume logic to a British symbol of exclusivity. The magic faded. The launches of the X300 and X308, while decent, failed to make the desired impact. Then came the S-Type and X-Type, criticized for sharing too much with Ford platforms and for feeling too cheap to wear the leaping cat badge. The XJX350 of 2003 tried to revive past elegance with modern tech, but it was too little, too late. Jaguar had become a brand caught between worlds, lacking Bentley's exclusivity and Audi's efficiency. Just a name, trapped between eras. Meanwhile, Ford was facing its own internal crises. To protect its core, it began selling off its less profitable brands. In 2007, it sold Aston Martin, and in 2008, Jaguar and Land Rover were sold to India's Tata Motors for $2.3 billion. It was an unexpected move, a new chapter. Was it the beginning of a resurrection? Can a giant Indian manufacturer of economy cars save a British aristocratic icon of the automotive world? In the business world, few had much faith in the future of the leaping cat, but the skeptics never saw the unexpected coming. Tata didn't impose its way of doing things. It set Jaguar free. Unlike Ford, who had tried to turn Jaguar into a volume brand, Tata understood that true luxury isn't mass-produced. Jaguar had to remain a rarity, not a replica. And for the first time in decades, the company had the freedom to redefine itself. Backed by Tata's financial strength, Jaguar introduced a new product line, the XF, a refined sports saloon, a new XJ, futuristic in design but British in soul, and later the F-Type, a two-seater that resurrected the silhouette of the legendary E-Type. The public responded. In 2012, Jaguar sold barely 54,000 cars a year. By 2018, it surpassed 180,000. It was the brand's greatest commercial success of the 21st century. But after that upward curve, the fall would be even steeper. Behind the growth, an internal fracture had been growing. Chronic quality and reliability issues, failing supply chains, faulty engines, fragile turbos, unstable electrical systems, and an after-sales service unable to sustain the promise of lasting luxury. Jaguar Land Rover's own CEO admitted it. "We've lost over 100,000 customers a year, simply by failing to deliver what we promise." In a market where trust is the true engine of sales, Jaguar became a risky bet, and customers do not forgive betrayal. Since 2018, the numbers collapsed. In 2023, Jaguar sold just 64,000 units. By 2024, only 15,000, a drop of over 90% in less than 6 years. Faced with collapse, executives opted for a desperate strategy to reinvent the brand from scratch. Literally. In November 2024, Jaguar unveiled its new corporate identity under the slogan, "Copy Nothing." The decision was as radical as it was controversial. The iconic leaping Jaguar logo? Gone. References to Le Mans, the E-Type, or British luxury? Erased. And in their place, the Jaguar Type 00 concept car was unveiled. An electric vehicle with neon pink bodywork, steeped in digital art and avant-garde fashion aesthetics. Rather than a rebirth, it felt like self-denial. A brand renouncing its identity at the very moment it most needed to remember who it was. The backlash was swift and brutal. Critics, customers, and longtime fans reacted with disbelief. What was meant to be a revolution was perceived as a cultural betrayal, a soulless concession to modern branding trends. Jaguar didn't die because of competition. It died by forgetting what it stood for, wrote one British columnist. The media quickly drew parallels with other brands that lost themselves in the race for relevance. But Jaguar went even further. It amputated its past without securing its future. Today, in 2025, the feline lies gravely wounded. With a shrunken lineup, no clear direction, and a divided audience, Jaguar's future seems already written. And what about you? What do you think of Jaguar's story? Could this be its final chapter? And so, we conclude the fascinating story of Jaguar cars. A brand that revolutionized the automotive world, was admired by geniuses like Enzo Ferrari, conquered Le Mans, and crafted some of the most beautiful cars ever made. If you've ever had a close encounter with Jaguar, or if you're simply a fan of the motoring world, don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. And if this story captivated you, you might want to discover how another British automotive jewel, with 7 financial rescues under its belt, has managed to remain in the elite of global motoring: Aston Martin. See you in the next video.